Okay, so we all know people
Yeah.
who refuse to work, they can't hold a job, and they want people to provide for them all the time. And that is not in context with God's word.
Right.
You know, the Apostle Paul, as I shared on Sunday, the Apostle Paul says, you know, if you don't work, you shouldn't eat. And what we see is we see Jesus was a carpenter, the Apostle Paul was a tent maker, Peter was a fisherman. We have all of these examples, and there is a difference between I don't need to work, I'm just going to let God provide for me. I think it's one of those things, what we see in God's Word is there is so much where God calls us to do what only we can do, and then God will do what only He can do. And so for us to have this, I'm going to work hard, you know, we're going to work as if I'm working for the Lord. That's what the Apostle Paul says in Colossians. He says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart is working for the Lord. And so I think we ought to be the very best employees. Yeah. We ought to be the hardest workers. We ought to be the first ones in and the last ones out. And I'm not talking about workaholism. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about because we represent Jesus in the way that we work hard, but I'm not depending on my hard work as my provider. I'm depending on God to be that provision for me.
Right.